team here in Jameson, Perdue, who we saw yesterday. He is 10-3 with white-blue humans. So we've seen a lot of humans here today. We do have a metagame breakdown. You can also go to StarCityGames.com to our coverage page to check out exactly what's going on. As round number 14 is underway, both these players in top 8 contention, they're going to have to go win-win to be able to make the top 8. As Majors will start off with a Knight of the White Orchid. For Jameson, Perdue, a Council's Lieutenant.
We've seen a lot of the Knight this weekend. It's really shined in the aggressive decks and against the aggressive decks. And obviously when you're on the draw and you get to double land drop in a turn, very powerful.
Forsaken Sanctuary there from Majors. And I'll be heading back over to Jameson, Perdue with the Plains. And now and always watching. He will simply pass the turn back over to Majors, who will untap and draw.
Yeah, Jameson not prepared to trade his creature with his opponent's creature, so he might have a plan to get a counter on his creature in the near future.
A Hadron Archive here from Michael. He's just playing one of those this weekend. Allows him to accelerate appropriately with some pretty big spells, or perhaps double spell a little bit earlier than most decks can. And this is an Archangel of Tithes.
Combo.
Yes, it is, with Always Watching. We'll head over to Michael now. Michael's got a combo as well. It's Mana and Sorin, the Grim Nemesis. See if he wants to enact that combo right now.
Yeah, he's really come out fast this game. The white-blue humans deck is no slouch at getting onto the board quick, but it didn't have the best explosive start, and with the Hedron Archive, Michael's going to be able to keep up no problem.
Oh, Michael's just going to wait for a moment here. Curious to see how he wants to go about using his mana this turn. Now, he does have 2 copies of Blighted Fen out there, so he could see him just use that land.
Well, and we've seen some other things cast a couple of times when someone has 5 mana and passes the turn.
So that's been like a running joke for us this weekend, but I actually just forgot about Archangel Avacyn right now.
Yeah.
So I could have maybe run into a trap here if I was Jameson. It would have been really embarrassing.
Yeah, I've only seen this happen like a dozen times. Haven't learned my lesson yet.
Oddly enough, yeah, okay, this will take care of that. You know, Michael might run into that as well here, but here's hello, Dragonlord Ojutai.
And this is another combo with the Always Watching.
But I actually think Michael's in a really good spot because Scott Engelson making it take care of Council's Lieutenant, and then Blighted Fen can take care of the Dragonlord Ojutai.
Which it better.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what Majors will do. So Blighted Fen plus an attack here for 2 means that Majors has a very nice turn. See if he has a land to play. It does not appear that he does, and now we're going to head back Jameson Perdue's way. So a pretty good series of turns there for Michael Majors.
Yes, he had the option to anguish on making the Always Watching, but it was so much more important just to get the dragon off of the board as soon as possible.
For Perdue, a Plains, and now a Gideon. So we'll see if the very powerful Planeswalker can be effective here.
And some of the white decks that we've seen this weekend are much lower to the ground. Their curve stops at Always Watching on 3. I guess a lot of them had the Archangel of Tithes, so it stops on 4. But we see Jameson Perdue's deck a little bit bigger. Has some Planeswalkers, it has the Dragonlord Ojutai, and so it can play a little bit bigger than those other decks. Now it looks like Majors has a Displacer in his hand, which is particularly good against tokens.
He still has Sorin, too.
Yep, he has Sorin to finish off the Planeswalker right away if he wants to. But that leaves him in a position where he has to chump block the Knight token with his own Knight.
Yeah. I think we're just in the stage right now where Majors has a lot of options.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what the best one is. He's going to start by attacking. Well, Jameson went to block very quickly, but keep in mind his token, it is a 3/3. It just doesn't have...
No.
2/2?
It's a 2/2. The Always Watching does not affect tokens.
Oh, well, non-token. Okay, my fault. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we each missed it.
Yep.
Which is easy to do. We're so used to the Glorious Anthem effects.
I was thinking creatures get +1/+1 and non-token creatures do not get vigilance, which would be really weirdly worded. So this makes way more sense.
And we saw Jameson Perdue almost not even realize it. He went to block right away and then said, oh, wait, there's got to be a reason that my opponent's attacking here.
So here's Gideon. Follow-up Displacer, pass the turn. The land that Michael played for the turn was a Crumbling Vestige, by the way.
And Michael Majors appears to be well in control at this point.
So he's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. He's got everything going on. We know he still has the Sorin in his hand.
What do we have here for Jameson Perdue? A Reflector Mage. Displacer's out of here. Gideon's moving up. Here come the beatdowns. We'll see where those creatures are attacking. It looks like Michael's going to chump block, so it looks like they're going towards Gideon. And Gideon now down to 2 counters, and this appears to be a morph? Dragon Slayer?
Hidden Dragon Slayer.
Yep.
Aptly named card.
Yes.
I love good flavor.
Me too. Now, Majors cannot replay the Eldrazi Displacer this turn. That'll have to wait till next turn, given the Reflector Mage. Gideon up to... oh, never mind. I thought it might be churning out a token. It's up to 3, and it's giving the beatdowns, and it's going at Gideon.
Look at these Gideon battles back and forth.
Yep. See what's next here for Majors. Interesting game here. 6 mana. Sorin time. Yep.
Boom.
Starts on 6.
Is it Kevin Jones or Sorin that's Big Daddy?
That's definitely Kevin.
Okay.
It's not close.
Not even close?
No,
wow.
it's not close.
This Sorin's a pretty big daddy.
You actually probably owe Kevin money now for saying that incorrectly. So you know.
Did I just infringe on a copyright of his? Yeah.
You did. There's only one daddy, and that's Kevin Jones. You saw Sorin finish off Gideon.
You know, I'm still learning.
I understand.
It's a process.
Yeah, we got to get you in the booth more often.
Yeah.
Kevin, we're going to have to bury this archive, because if Kevin finds out, you're going to be broke.
His lawyer's going to be sending me a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's another copy of Always Watching. Make that morph into a 4/4.
Not helping the token a whole lot.
Morph's coming on in. Wherever it's attacking,
Yeah.
Major's just chump blocking.
Yeah.
He wants to keep his planeswalkers alive, and that's exactly what he's done. He does untap all these lands, takes a draw.
It was probably worth it for Jameson to send his token in as well. You know, if the Knight of the White Orchid decides to first strike away the token, then the big morph gets to take down one of these planeswalkers. And if Majors makes the block that he made, then the token will have at least done some damage.
There's not ally. Here comes Displacer. Followed might be a Hedron Crawler, and it is. And
Yep.
This allows Majors to leave 3 mana open for Displacer and simply pass the turn back.
Yep, lots of mana to work with. 2 planeswalkers on the board, lots of creatures, one of which is the Displacer. He just has it all going on.
And now this is watching a white-black deck flex its muscles here.
Yep.
That's exactly what's going on. This is kind of the appeal of white-black, be it Eldrazi, be it midrange, be it control, is that not a lot of synergy, but a whole lot of power in your cards.
Yep, that has vigilance.
He's going to be attacking Sorin here with the morph, and Major says, I'll displace that.
And, well, he's not even going to get to unmorph it now.
Nope.
Loses that benefit.
So now it's just a Hidden Dragon Slayer. That's a 4/3 lifelinker. Sorin's going to go up. Reveal, Anguished Unmaking. James, you take 3.
This is starting to look a little bit lopsided.
Yes, it is.
And by starting to look, I mean...
It is?
This is all wrapped up.
Yeah, it is lopsided.
Yeah.
Gideon's taking up. Beatdowns are coming in. All right, for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of damage. Jameson Perdue's going to fall down to 5, I believe.
Yep.
The Majors will pass the turn back with a whole bunch of mana. Activations Displacer at the ready and almost an English Unmaking, and Jameson Perdue will concede the game. So Michael Majors will win game number 1 here over Jameson Perdue. White-Black Eldrazi up a game here over White-Blue Humans. Again, that's a case of the White-Black Eldrazi deck showing its power built into its cards. Not a lot of synergy in this deck, but the cards are all individually very powerful.
Mm-hmm. And this is probably the type of Magic that Michael Majors is just looking to play. This isn't the super hyper-aggressive Humans deck that we've seen earlier. So it plays a little more mid-rangey, which plays right into Michael's plan.
To the sideboards we go. We take a look here, and we'll start with Jameson Perdue, who's got 3 Surge of Righteousness, a Felidar Cub, a Stasis Snare, an Archangel of Ties, a Gideon, Ally Zendikar, 2 Odric Lunarch Marshal, 2 Tragic Arrogance, 2 Negates, and 2 Stratus Dancer. Craig, what do you like here?
Well, he's going to have to be able to to interact better with some of these powerful spells out of Michael's deck. So I expect cards like Negate, Stratus Dancer, and maybe another Gideon to come in. They're powerful early and they're powerful later in the game.
On the other side of things here for Majors, he's got 2 Reality Smasher, 2 Read the Bones, 2 Duress, another copy of Eiley, Eternal Pilgrim, 3 Tragic Arrogance in his sideboard, 2 Virulent Plagues, another copy of Gideon, and then 2 Transgress the Mind.
Well, we've seen how powerful Tragic Arrogance could be earlier today, so I expect those to come in. The Eiley makes his deck a little bit lower and gives him some life gain in a pinch, so those are definite adds. Cards like Gideon, I don't know if he wants that in this matchup. Duress, Read the Bones, they're not all that exciting, but definitely the Tragic Arrogance, definitely the Eiley.
Well, that gives you an idea of what both players are working with here. So as they do get ready here for game number 2, Jameson Perdue will be on the play, and we'll very quickly talk about the shirt that Michael Majors is wearing and a shirt you can wear as well. It's the official shirt of StarCityGames.com. 50% cotton, 50% polyester, screen printed in the United States. But more importantly, we've taken our apparel and we have upgraded it to new levels. So if you'd like to represent Star City Games, and we'd love if you do, go to StarCityGames.com/apparel, and we'll have some more stuff headed that way. Some pretty cool hoodies on the way, and then some other things I can't talk about.
I'm going to take a look.
Yeah, you should.
And I'm going to leak to the fans what those things are.
No, you're not. That's not a thing that's going to happen. I promise you that.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have told you that before you didn't tell me what the new things are.
That's a bit of a mistake there. Go to StarCityGames.com/apparel for more information. Get yours today as we get ready here for game number 2. We learn a little bit more about the Grand Prix champion. That is Michael Majors, who's had a lot of success on the SCG Tour this year. Number 19 currently in season number 1. 24 years old from Evans, Georgia, with 5 open top 8s and 1 victory at our season 1 Invitational 2 years ago with the very powerful Jeskai Delver deck. He's an avid reader. He's an amateur kayak enthusiast, and this is true no matter what he says. He aspires to own an Applebee's franchise in the future, as he calls it, Club Bees.
Sure, a very bright future ahead of this kid.
Yeah, he's looking to go to the club all the time.
Whether it's more open top 8s or his own restaurant franchise, it's all going to work out for him.
It could be a restaurateur.
Yeah.
We'll find out either way.
We've talked about getting you into a kayak before.
Have we?
It was briefly talked about.
Was this a kayak or was this like the tube rafting thing?
No, at the last event, I don't know if you remember this.
Okay, remind me.
We talked about how you weren't the biggest fan of the water, and I was like, let's just get you out there, a little kayak or canoe, and you didn't seem enthused.
Well, I can't swim, so I'm naturally not enthused by going in the water.
The idea of just drowning isn't something that excites you?
No, oddly enough, it's really not on the top of my list, no.
But what if we got someone, a near professional like Michael Majors out there?
That's true. Also, the other thing is I'm way too proud to wear floaties.
Okay.
So I'm just not going in the water.
Adults don't really wear floaties. That's not like a thing.
Well, I can do whatever I want.
I'm way too proud to look like I'm 2 years old. That's like what.
Here's a 3-minute inspector from Jameson. Look, I stand where I stand.
Yeah, how big would those floaties have to be to keep you afloat?
Yeah, I have pretty big arms, so they have to be pretty big. I'm also not a small person. So Jameson will attack for 1, pass a turn back over to Majors. Majors will play a Plains. I think we'll have a Hedron Crawler perhaps. It'll be an Eiley to block the road here for a moment.
I'm a little surprised to see the Eiley come down there instead of the Hedron Crawler. The mana acceleration is very valuable to Michael's deck, and he was under no pressure at the moment.
Now Reflector Mage is going to bounce that. So maybe that was the plan. Maybe he's fine with getting that bounce but doesn't want the Hedron Crawler to get bounced.
Sure.
Maybe his mana is lining up a certain way where it's better to have Hedron Crawler on 3 to be able to accelerate on turn 5. Well,
Yep.
I mean, we'll find out. There's a Knight of the White Orchid. Oh, okay, sure. We'll do a little of this action. Get a basic Plains.
So good on the draw.
Yeah, it's really something.
It's even better if you can pronounce the name correctly.
Which I did?
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
I'm the one with the problem.
Okay.
The white of the night and the fight and the light, and I don't know.
A Hedron Crawler and a passing of the turn over to Jameson Perdue. We could have Sorin soon.
Yeah, that was an explosive turn from Michael.
Every time I think Knight of the White Orchid isn't that good, I'm definitely wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm right. There's another Knight.
And we've seen this before, the bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But with Michael's deck being the more powerful, the more over-the-top deck, the lands definitely favor him.
Yeah, this favors him so much more. See what's next here for Perdue. He'll play a Prairie Stream. It'll enter the battlefield on tap because of 2 basics. And beatdowns.
Hiya! Done messing around. Take 2.
Yep. Majors default to 16. Four mana. Thought not seer. What's going on over here? Gideon? Okay, there's a lot going on over here.
Yeah, there is a lot.
2 Declaration Stone, a Dragon Lord Ochitai, and a Gideon. Pick your poison there, Michael Majors. Not an easy decision to make.
My best guess is that he's going to take the dragon here. It's possible that he already just has a pretty clean answer for it in his hand when it goes to attack. But that's where I would start.
Yeah, this is tough. I don't think he wants a Declaration Stone, but if he does take one, that's pretty telling.
Yes. He can take one. His opponent's almost forced to use the other one on the Thought Not Seer, leaving him without any removal moving forward.
A lot to think about right now for Michael Majors. But he's going to go with the Dragon Lord Ochitai. The follow-up is a Cabal Therapy. No, it's an Eiley Eternal Pilgrim. Pass the turn back. And now Jameson Perdue has no hand.
We're just waiting for that Cabal Therapy to be reprinted.
It's never going to happen.
Out of the man that wants to see Armageddon reprinted.
I am who I am.
Fair enough.
There are certain cards that I really like.
All right, Declaration in Stone means cards for everyone.
Yes. Thought Not Seer is gone. Michael gets a clue. Jameson gets a card. There's Always Watching. Timely. Beatdowns.
Well, and Michael's extra happy that he took the dragon now.
Yes. Majors will draw. I believe Plains was the draw step. He does have a Gideon and a Displacer in hand. We saw how effective those were in the last game. And it's a Plains. And it's a Displacer. And he'll pass the turn back. You can't target Reflector Mage. Just don't really.
It's not the best plan.
No.
Unless it's your own.
Yes. I'm surprised we actually haven't seen Displacer Reflector Mage decks. Unless I'm missing something. I don't think we've seen very many of those at all.
We have not. You can search up both of those cards with Collected Company. Oof. Yeah, giving you the chills.
Yes. Declaration in Stone. Gotta go after Eldrazi Displacer. Majors will get a clue.
Yep. And he could have used the Displacer, but his mana's a little better served cashing in those clues.
Worth noting, Displacer can't target itself.
Correct.
It can't target anything else, though.
Oh, and he's got the versatile Anguished Unmaking.
Yeah. Now the old Eiley's going to jump in front of the Knight of the White Orchid.
That was a good turn.
Not a bad turn. Anguished Unmaking has impressed every time.
Yes.
At least for me. Now there's a Gideon.
Yeah, there are enough enchantments in the format. There's some really big creatures that you want to exile. Only costs 3 mana. It's instant speed. The 3 life drawback is not that big of a deal.
See what comes next here for Majors.
Even the Eiley has been impressive every time we've seen it.
It's been good.
It doesn't just win the game by itself, but it does exactly what you want it to do, which is to hold down the fort.
Here's a Declaration in Stone, and now Michael's saying, I want to kill your Gideon. If you want to keep it alive, you're going to have to do quite a bit of blocking. I like this attack a lot.
Yeah, and Jameson just threw his card on the floor out of frustration.
James would have to chump block with both of his creatures, and then no matter what happens, Gideon's going down to 2. So this is an example of Majors really pressuring Gideon here at this stage.
And it looks like Perdue is thinking about. Okay, he chose the double chump block. He was thinking about double blocking a creature for pretty decent trade, but decides that Gideon is more important to keep on the board.
Keep in mind, Majors did attack with a Shambling Vent that turn, so he does gain a little bit of life, up to 12. Now we head back Perdue's way. Active Gideon, a clue out there, 6 mana. He's going to need something good here, though.
The Anguished Unmaking on the Always Watching was a real turning point in this game.
To really change the dynamic of things here.
Because Perdue's threats need that little extra bonus. to push through what Michael Majors is doing.
Gideon's going up. Here come the beatdowns. Let's see if Majors has any interest of blocking with the old Hedron Crawler here.
Yeah, he's got to consider if he wants to chump block, if he just wants to take the damage. He's wondering if Jameson Perdue is going to play something that he can't just easily attack through the next turn to finish off the Gideon. And his mana out of the Hedron Crawler looks very expendable, but with 2 clues in play and a lot of expensive cards in his deck, that mana is very valuable.
No, it looks like Major's just going to take the damage, down to 7. The follow-up? Reflector Mage.
That's a good one.
Yep. And now pass. Majors will draw.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is. Archangel Avacyn was the draw step. Also has an ultimate price in hand. Can play a really nice instant speed game here.
Yeah, this looks like it lines up very well with his mana.
Let's see what Michael's thinking on this turn.
Looked like he was going to start by cashing in a clue, but I think he realized that with 7 mana available, he can always cash in the clue later, and he might want the ultimate price.
In the meantime, Perdue will cash in a clue. Now he'll draw a card for his turn. See how much action Jameson has left here. Looks like he does have another copy of Gideon in hand. He's going to make a Night Ally. See what the follow-up is. It's a morph. Very likely to be Hidden Dragon Slayer. There's a chance it's Stratus Dancer.
Yep.
That's going to resolve. Could see Majors just can't ultimate price a morph. Take that all back. Going to start by sacrificing a clue. Stopped myself a few times this weekend.
Yeah, and it looks like Perdue, familiar with the format, not just going to run into the teeth of an angel, or the sword point, if you will.
Majors will draw. Pick up a copy of Knight of the White Orchid. One of my favorite things is, you draw Knight of the White Orchid kind of in like the mid to late game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of take a little glance over.
Yeah. You do the check.
Yeah, okay, we're good. Don't want to give it away too much.
Yeah. You saw Mike rearrange his lands a little bit, kind of. Yeah. I'm just moving these around. I'm not counting them. Yeah.
Here's an Isley Eternal Pilgrim. They both have 6 lands right now. Now Michael has 7.
Yep.
See, the thing he's trying to do right now, in my opinion, is he's going to play a Knight of the White Orchid and just pass the turn back. Is he wants to try to mask the fact that he has Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah, he's trying to get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah.
He could have just deployed it at the end of last turn and started attacking, but instead he cashed in a couple clues. That gave him a lot of cards to work with, so he could deploy some cards other than the Angel, and he's hoping to get some value out of it in the future.
You'll see Hedron Crawler brought that Gideon and now sacrificed 2 Islay to gain a life. Archangel of Ties has arrived.
And Perdue's done a good job of reestablishing a significant board presence here. It looked like Mike was in the driver's seat. It really had control of things.
Doesn't feel that way now.
But yeah, Perdue's side of the board has gotten big enough, fast enough that Majors has to be feeling some pressure.
There's a Hedron Crawler. Follow-up. Ultimate price. All right, so it's Stratus Dancer.
Oof.
That takes care of that. But the other thing that this means is that the green light's on for Archangel Avacyn. It just can't come this turn.
Yeah. But with Majors at 8.
It's starting to get tough.
2 flying threats on the board,
Yep.
a Planeswalker. There's a lot of pressure going on here. He's going to Emblem.
Oh, he might just, not dead. Not dead because of Islay, but close.
Yep.
It's also one less Gideon to worry about now.
Well, it looked like Perdue drew a Gideon for his turn.
That changes things.
Yeah, there it is.
Major's in some real trouble now.
Yeah. And he's probably a little unhappy with himself that he didn't deploy the Archangel Avacyn when he had the opportunity.
Well, you definitely hate ending the game with an Archangel Avacyn in your hand when you've had multiple opportunities to deploy it. That's for sure. So Major's going to sacrifice these. Gain some life, take some damage, obviously.
Yeah, he'll probably end up at 4 life after this. He's taking 8 damage from the flyers. He sacrificed 2 Knight of the White Orchids.
Well done. Any outs here? I mean, he has Archangel. I have to imagine that's something.
He does have Archangel, but it's not a lot.
So here's where things get interesting, right? He can play Archangel. He can sacrifice his Hedron Crawler.
Yep.
That would transform Archangel. He'd gain a life up to 5. Transform Archangel, deal 3 to everything. Dealing 3 to everything kills both of the Knight allies and the Stratus Dancer.
Yes.
So that's not bad.
Not terrible.
I don't know if that keeps him alive.
Not spectacular, yeah.
Here comes Eiley. It's going to go with Gideon. There's a block. This is an Archangel almost assuredly. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So that's going to give Eiley indestructibility. It has Death Touch, so it beats the token.
Yep.
Follow-up.
Yeah, no choice. Got to
this.
cash in the guy.
Transform, deal 3 to everything. He gained a life. Eiley dies because of dealing 3 to everything. Ah, okay, but you redirected over to Gideon. Okay, so he was trying to get Gideon off the battlefield with that trigger. Makes sense. Here comes the attack. Yep, Majors is dead. Jameson Perdue is going to win game number 2 here against Michael Majors. White Blue Humans going to come all the way back that game to beat White Black Eldrazi.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
There were turns there where Michael Majors could have drawn a Tragic Arrogance, just put him right back in the driver's seat.
Yep.
A timely removal spell. We saw how critical the Stratus Dancer was, keeping Perdue in control of that game.
It's a back and forth game. It felt like Majors was really in the driver's seat there a couple of times. But I feel like we said that a couple of times about the Humans deck. But
Yeah.
the Humans deck has the ability to punch back.
Yes.
That's the thing that's notable. You know, Gideon, Archangel ties, a couple other things. It can really fight back in some games. It's impressive.
Yeah, the always watching, drawing the extra cards from the clues. It gets back into the games.
To the sideboards we go one more time. And we take a look at what these players have access to. And you've mentioned Tragic Arrogance a couple of times. We saw Eric Himmel draw it earlier today in a matchup that's similar to this. And I think for Michael Majors, it's probably really important here.
Yeah, when we saw it drawn earlier in the day, his opponent exploded.
It's really hard.
There was no longer an opponent on the other side of the board.
Yeah. Really, really, really hard for these white-blue human decks or any human deck to beat that. So I think if Major's able to draw one of those and set it up, and there's really no way the humans deck can play around it.
Yeah.
That's probably the plan of action that he's got 3 to draw to. So these players will go to the sideboards one more time, shuffle up. We'll see what they can find. In the meantime, we're going to talk about some IQs here. Those, of course, are invitational qualifiers with Star City Games, and that can be your path to the Pro Tour or the Players' Championship, as, of course, invitationals now qualify you for a Pro Tour and the Players' Championship when you do win. The easiest way to get to an invitational with an invitational qualifier. When you do play at a local IQ, it'll get you a qualification. It'll also get you a play mat, a top 8 pin, an invitational winner tokens, and, of course, StarCityGames.com premium vouchers. And this is our playmat right now for this season of Invitationals. It's Cemetery Showdown. So go to StarCityGames.com. Check out our schedule. You can also find it on our Facebook page as well and figure out where the closest Invitational qualifier is to you. Qualify for an Invi. Maybe you'll work your way towards a Pro Tour or the Players' Championship.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, Michael Majors. We'll be seeing him at the Pro Tour in a couple of weeks here. Players are getting ready to fly out to Madrid pretty soon for Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad, and with any luck, we'll be seeing Michael Majors and perhaps Jameson Perdue at the Players' Championship in Roanoke, Virginia at the end of the year.
We were saying how this white-blue humans deck can't play around Tragic Arrogance, which largely feels to be the truth.
Okay.
But they do have enough diversity of threats. If he has a Gideon on the board and always watching and one really good creature, he can continue to pressure his opponent with just those threats.
That's true. That's true. This matchup's pretty complicated, I think. It seems like Jameson would run away, but Michael's got some defenses. I don't think it's really ever a runaway for either player.
No, the clear lines of which deck is the beatdown deck and which one's the control deck and which has the more powerful spells. All of these things are blurred in today's Magic.
Yeah. I don't think maybe the things, boy, what's the article I'm thinking of? By Flores. Who's the beatdown?
Yes.
I'm not sure that applies as much anymore.
It's still the case in how you want to sequence your spells or prioritize what you're doing. Do I need to play a removal spell here? Do I just need to get a creature on the board? We saw Michael Majors draw 2 cards off of clues when he could have gotten an angel onto the board. Mm-hmm. Things like that are still important and they're still part of the game, but I think it's much less clear.
It's nowhere near as clear as it used to be.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Looks like Perdue's going to take a mulligan. Major's going to keep his opening hand.
And in order to know what the situation is and what you have to do, you have to put in the time. You have to play test, you have to practice, you have to try out all different cards, you have to play against all the different matchups, and then you'll know, am I the beatdown?
For Majors, it's Knight of the White Orchid on turn number 2. He'll have to pay 1 to cast it. That's why he falls down to 19. And no land to search up for Jameson Perdue. He also has Knight of the White Orchid. Embarrassing for both players. No land to find.
It is and it isn't. Obviously, Perdue has the potential to be much better than his opponents between Gideon and Always Watching.
And if you're curious on who the beatdown is, well, you saw Michael Majors could have attacked with his Knight of the White Orchid.
Yep.
Elected not to because he's looking to play a little bit of defense. Our Prairie Stream here for Jameson.
Yeah, a lot of value out of the second Knight.
Yep. Both players just trying to get their mana online right now. Majors in a less appealing fashion there with the Hedron Crawler.
A little 0-1, not as good as a 2-2 first striker.
Majors immediately blocking. There's a 3-man Inspector. That'll get a clue, pass the turn back. Majors will draw. He'll play a Thought Knot Seer. Take a look at the grip. No surprise to see some very good cards here. An Archangel of the Ties, Always Watching, Gideon. And the card that you cannot see, I believe, is the Stasis Snare.
Stasis Snare, correct. And this is an interesting predicament for Michael Majors here. All of these cards are very good in this situation. If he has a card like Anguish Unmaking already in his hand, he's more inclined to leave the Stasis Snare in Perdue's hand. He can punk his opponent later in the game by removing the Stasis Snare, pick another key card out of his hand, and get him in combat.
Well, Stasis Snare gone. The rest of the cards stay. Jameson did crack a clue. Didn't find a land, unfortunately, though I think one of the 2 cards that he drew between his draw step and sacrificing the clue was a Reflector Mage. So here's an Eldrazi Displacer, and Majors will pass the turn back. Jameson Perdue will draw. Another copy of Gideon. Reflector Mage is here. Going to bounce Thought Knots here, which means Perdue will draw a card. He's found a 4th land. I think he'll play it here in just a moment. There it is. Pass the turn back.
Both of these players just desperate for some more resources to work with, the more lands on the board.
Majors has the Caves of Koilos, so he's found land number 4, mana source number 5. Here comes Eldrazi, aggressive Eldrazi Displacer. Right, this.
Yeah, the right block is definitely a triple block here if you want to block.
If you want, if you want to block. I mean, that just reeks of Archangel Avacyn, though.
Yes. And then passing the turn with the 5 mana still up.
Yeah, what could it be? The thing is, so here's the thing. Because now, Jameson can't attack either.
Nope. Cannot attack, and he doesn't want to play Gideon because it'll just get eaten by an angel immediately.
Yep. Now the question is, Major's going to cast this, and I think he should.
Yeah.
I think just get that part of the game over with, get that threat on the battlefield. He has to take 1 to cast the Archangel Avacyn. Both players to make sure the life totals are correct here.
Come on, Majors.
No.
Trying to get tricky.
No. Unbelievable. He's going to fall down to 18.
Perdue too sharp. He caught him. Put that man in jail.
Ultimate Price, taking out an Archangel Ties. Here come the beatdowns. Yes.
And this is interesting that Majors is saying, I'm willing to trade this Displacer for one of your creatures.
Well, sort of.
Well, the triple block means Majors would have to have
the onboard blink of Archangel Avacyn?
The onboard blink of Archangel. Well, it's also possible he just wants the Displacer to die.
That's true.
The Avacyn can transform.
Yes.
and clean up his opponent's board.
It's all bad for Jameson.
Yes.
That's why the attack is really good. There's just not a lot that he can do. And now Jameson is again in the spot where he can't really attack.
Yeah, Displacer, Avison.
Pretty filthy.
Seems like an unfair synergy.
Yeah, pretty filthy. Not entirely sure how Jameson's supposed to get through this. Oh, well, the way you get through this is you have to deal with the Displacer first.
Yes.
So it's going to take an exile effect because the destroy effect will not work.
Yep. Well, another Reflector Mage would buy him a turn without the Displacer on the board.
Mm-hmm. But he's in some trouble. This combination of cards is very difficult to get through. There's always watching.
And what this does for him, it stops the Displacer from attacking as effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives him a creature that'll live if the Archangel Avison does flip.
Mages there on the end step displaced the Knight of the White Orchid. Don't want to displace the Reflector Mage, as we mentioned. So Archangel Avison is going to come across for 4 in the air. We'll see if Mages has a follow-up play or not.
There's not a whole lot of games where you want to displace the Knight either.
Yeah, this is one of the times where he can get away with it. But for the most part, not a lot of interest in that. Looks like Mages will take a point. Eiley, Eternal Pilgrim. And still leaving up the ability to displace.
And that gives him the option to transform the Avison at will.
Mm-hmm. This is a situation right now where if Jameson Perdue, I think, taps out, he just dies immediately.
Yeah.
He can transform, as you mentioned, and then attack with Avison the Purifier. And if anyone was ever curious, is the hype real or not real? Well,
This card's a problem for the format.
yeah, it's good.
It's going to define what people are doing for a long time.
Yep, it's good.
Where can I get some Archangel Avisons?
That's a really good question. Interesting that you would ask.
Should I try to trade with my friends?
You could always do that. There is also a website that does have Magic cards available. StarCityGames.com.
Oh, I was thinking Amazon.
for your Magic card needs, as Michael does tap down the Archangel of Ties thanks to the Eldrazi Displacer.
But where would I get a deck list to know which cards I'm supposed to buy?
Another great question, as Declaration of Stone is going to take care of things and Michael Majors is going to win this match. You could probably read one of Michael Majors' articles about decks on StarCityGames.com as well.
That's not also Amazon?
That's also Amazon.
Okay.
Michael Majors is going to win this match here over Jameson Perdue, 2-1. White-Black Eldrazi will take care of White-Blue Humans. So for Michael Majors, he slides on to 11-3. Unfortunately for Jameson Perdue, he's going to fall down to 10-4. His top 8 dreams are vanquished.